Hi, I'm Irene Pletka, and I'm going to try and introduce you to a food that you probably have never eaten, probably have never wanted to eat, but it was considered a delicacy in Eastern Europe and is to this day, and that is brains. So here we have brains. These happen to be lamb brains that have been soaking in water, and they are, nice little package, but it's covered with a membrane. And in order to get the membrane off, we're just going to put some boiling water or very hot water on it, and that should essentially make the membrane seize up a bit so that you can peel it off easily. The texture of the brains is really very gentle and delicate, and because it was one of the cheaper cuts of meat, it was something that Eastern European Jews turned into a delicacy because that was what they did. In most cases, people they parboil them, cut them into slices, and bread them and fry them. I don't do it that way. My mother made them into patties. The last time I made this, I had some of the batter left over, and so I just made it into essentially like a frittata, a cake. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'll show you because it's easy. Once you've done this fiddly bit, there's really not very much involved in terms of the cooking. It's easy peasy. And pretty impressive to serve, I will say, although you can make up your minds about that. Now there are people who say, I won't eat that. All I'm saying to you is, give it a try. You might like it. You don't have to, but it's nice in terms of remembering our history, what it was that our ancestors ate, because the food essentially is part of our cultural history. And so, even if you just try it once, you can say, I ate that, I know what it's like. You don't like it, you don't like it, but give it a try. Okay, so cleaned, sitting here, about half a cup of flour, because I do this by feel. Okay, that much flour. How much was that? Half a cup, I would say. And 5 eggs. Again, you do it by feel. 1, 2. Okay, here's 5 eggs. I'll just wipe my hands. Okay. Oops, some of this beautiful pink Murray River salt. How much would that be? 2 teaspoons, as a guess. Goodly grind of pepper. If you've white pepper, it's probably prettier. You won't have black flecks, but that was about 10 grinds. And then I am going to, and then just some scallions. Now, you could use shallots. The thing is that you want something that's got a mild flavour, because the flavour of the brains is really delicate. So, finely chop. If you've studied cooking, you've learned knife skills and you've learned to do your knuckles like that. I've actually never learned to do that, and so I am in danger occasionally of chopping my fingers a little bit, but so far I've got 10. I'm not complaining. Is you want some fat leaf parsley, and so that's always something. You could add thyme, you could add any of the herbs from your garden, essentially anything that you would have put into scrambled eggs or an omelette or a frittata, you can add to this. It's a very flexible recipe. Okay, so now I'm going to mix that around. So at this point, I would use a stick blender. A stick blender? I'm going to use a stick blender. Yep, I think that's pretty good. Okay, there's the batter. Looks like a batter, any kind of a batter. We're going to fry this in goose schmaltz because we want it, and it'll give it a particularly good flavour. If you're making it, if you keep a kosher kitchen, this is the way you can make it, or with oil. Oil has a higher smoke point, but the combination of the flavour of the schmaltz and the brains is particularly good. So here we have this beautiful schmaltz, which we are going to use to fry the brains. So, I've got this lovely big pan. As soon as that is smoking hot, we'll put it in. You can always judge the heat of a pan without a thermometer by keeping your hand above, and how many seconds you hold it is how hot it is. So for frying something, you need to be able to hold your hand there for less than, let's say, 5 seconds. Just a few bits. It's not quite as smooth as I would like. Pretty good. And now we're going to let that cook until the edges start to brown and you can see that the middle is firming up. Okay, so this is a brain cake. This is the way my mother made it, and it was always very fresh tasting.
One of the things about all these dishes, and I think it's characteristic of a lot of traditional Jewish cooking, they're all soft. It's partly long cooking.
Also, people didn't have teeth.
But easy to eat.
Yes, it's true.
And because meat was expensive, it could be minced.
Exactly. But not only that, these were foods, if I'm not mistaken, these were foods that were given to people who were ailing. If they were not well, they were, these were specialties that were given to them, and they're easy to eat and easy to digest. I challenge you to try brains. It'll be good for you. Your mother would have said that. Your mother would have given you, maybe your grandmother would have said, builds children's minds. So with that in mind, please, have some brains.